Hey everybody, welcome to justthenews.com. We are excited for our guests, the ladies Diamond and Silk, coming to us from North Carolina. You probably just saw them at the president's first post-coronavirus rally. They were getting the crowd rearing, and they got everybody worked up. We want to hear what it was like on the ground because we've heard lots of news reports, but we want to hear firsthand about what was happening in Oklahoma and also what can we expect in the next 4 months as President Trump heads to the campaign trail, as voters head to the booths. Diamond and Silk, welcome, ladies.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
So tell us about the rally down in Tulsa, because we've heard reports that the stadium was empty, that the capacity was a lot more than the actual people who showed up. Did the president and the campaign somehow get fooled by younger people on TikTok? Walk us through what happened.
Well, I think that the media got fooled, not the presidential campaign. Listen, we had a beautiful time in Oklahoma. The stadium, to me, it was packed.
Yes.
And it was so many phenomenal people there. People that support our country, support our president, love this country, and want to see this country still stand.
That's right.
And what the amazing thing is, the media hyped it up so much until over 20 million people across all spectrums, that includes the television, social media, was able to watch this rally. So I think it was a very big comeback for the president.
Yes.
And let's keep this moving. It's time to get back to normal instead of people wanting to keep us in what they call or consider the new normal.
That's right. That's right. And then when you look at it, if there were any empty seats, at least we were social distancing.
Then they want us to practice social distancing? Okay.
So, and ladies, as far as the president, we've done polling with Scott Rasmussen, who we know the president has said Rasmussen Reports is a polling agency that the president trusts. And our founder, John Solomon, is a journalist who is very trustworthy, and the president understands how our founder has been forward-looking on exposing what has actually happened at the FBI and the Michael Flynn case, et cetera. So coming from that background, just so you know, we've done polling that says the president should be concerned as well, and looking at polls elsewhere to say right now, because of what's happening with racial unrest, because of what's happening with the shutdown, a lot of voters are wanting something a little bit more stable, and so they're saying, hey, Trump is a disruptor. We don't necessarily want disruption right now because our lives are so disrupted. What's your message to them?
Okay, first of all, I would tell everybody to focus on the goal and not the poll. We were like that in 2016, and I'm still that way in 2020. The civil unrest that we see happening or playing out in the streets or on the streets of America is planned, organized chaos.
That's
you have
right.
to understand what's happening. And people, what they need to do, instead of reacting, do you need to take a step back, pause, and respond to what's happening? What is the media putting before our eyes? A lot of this stuff is being manipulated in order for you to react so you can be out there in the streets pumping your fist.
That's right.
Because you have to understand there's the media on the left and some even on the right that's trying to stop President Trump. All of this is being designed to hurt him in his campaign. Let me tell you this. President Trump is the one that's standing in the way for these globalist elites not to take over and turn our country into a globalized new world order, something that we've never seen. When we look at these people in the streets pumping their fists, like the Black Lives Matter movement, who happen to be a foundation / organization full of propaganda, and you have some of the ones that control it or own it say, well, you know what? We're trying to get Trump out of office. This lets you know that this is organized. This is political.
That's right.
These people practice Marxism. They are into that. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to turn our country into a communist country and use black people to do it.
That's
and
right.
This is the sad thing. I heard you say something about the statues and all of that kind of good stuff. But here's the deal. These statues can't clothe you, can't feed you, can't give you a job. So why are you angry at the statues? But when you look at it, who's really pulling down the statues? When I look, I see white liberals out there.
That's right.
Pulling down these statues. But when it's said and done, black people going to be the blame for all of this. So this is what I want America to do. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You need to take a step back, pause, and you need to respond by going to the polls and voting for President Donald J. Trump. Buy and do not care what happened to these cities that's riveted with crimes. businesses have been burned down.
That's right.
Businesses have been looted. He
Well,
don't
yeah,
care
and
about that.
so I want to ask you about that because it seems that over and over, Black conservatives have mentioned the fact, and even the president has mentioned the fact that Democrats have controlled minority areas. Democrats have controlled urban areas. Democrats have controlled the schools where Black children are stuck and unable to go to a charter school or a better school. Those are Democrats, teachers unions who give donations to Democrats. They're the ones who are trapping poor Black children in these schools. And then when it comes to Black businesses, you see in Baltimore or wherever, there was a study from the Federal Reserve that saw that the regulation of Dodd-Frank under Obama caused Black-owned businesses to fail because it was so much regulation. So these sort of things of regulation, killing Black businesses, schools not allowing Black children to go to a better school, why isn't this message as far as white liberal supremacy, because it is white liberals who are running these inner cities, why isn't that message out there as far as looking at it from a policy perspective? Do you think that there is any truth to that, this notion of a white liberal socialism supremacy?
Well, let me tell you why that message isn't getting out of there. Because most of the media is owned by white liberals. So they get to spin it how they want to.
That's right.
The media is the most powerful tool. You get up, you turn on your television, you see it, you hear it. This is what people are seeing and hearing. And anybody, voices like a Diamond and Silk or somebody that's trying to speak the truth and tell you about some things, to tell you to wake up, what they do is they try to say, well, we're spreading misinformation, or they will deem us as, conspiracy theories. Well, what we're doing is we're telling you the truth about white liberals. You know, it really bothers me that in this country, we live in 2020, you have white liberals. They talk about systematic racism or systemic racism, but they the one put the systems in place.
That's right.
Who are the ones that wrote hit pieces on Diamond and Silk and made that story spin and spin and spin to try to damage our reputation?
That's right.
Those were white liberals. Who are the ones running these news organizations? Who are the executives? White liberals. So that's what we need. That's why the message isn't getting out there.
And another thing, a lot of times they like to create a lot of madness going on in the world so that you can keep your eyes on the shiny object instead of the underbelly of which actually is going on.
That's right.
When I hear you talk about President Trump being a disruptor, in such a time as this, we need a disruptor, not somebody that's going to go along and get along like a Joe Biden. Look at him stuck and hidden in the basement, just saying, okay, kumbaya. But we need a Donald Trump out there to say, no, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to remove the rats that's clogging the pipes in the swamp. And sometimes this is what you have to do. It may feel a little uncomfortable at this time, but if we want to save this country, we have to do what we have to do. And sometimes you have to dismantle the whole thing and rebuild the foundation.
That's right.
Ladies, as far as your upcoming book, you've got a book coming out. I want to talk a little bit about your story because the title, you can explain the whole title, the backstory, but as I understand it, this is talking about how you converted in 2015 from lifelong Democrats to being a Republican. Why did that switch happen, and why do you think this message isn't being heard more broadly among Black voters?
Well, first of all, the switch happened because we know we needed something different. You know, you had a Black president for 8 years that didn't do anything for Black people. He ran on hope and change. We didn't get any hope. We was hoping things would change, but he made out with a lot of change.
That's right.
And let me tell you what I found is so I'm taken aback by when it comes to the supposed to be first Black president. You notice how he's very silent when it comes to people destroying things out here in the country, especially when you see Black Americans on TV doing it. He's very silent about that.
Yeah.
So that lets me know that Democrats, they go along with this foolishness that's happening. But when it comes to our story, it's our story. And we also talk about the liberal agenda and the liberal ideology that have destroyed Black people, the Black man.
That's right.
So the book is very interesting. You can go ahead and pre-order the book at diamondandsilkbook.com. We want you to go ahead and get your copy. It is going to be a phenomenal book. Who in the hell said you can't ditch and switch, baby? It's called Uprising.
Uprising.
Yes.
It's the awakening of
Diamond
diamond
and
and silk. And one more thing, if I can just also add, when you're talking about the Democrat Party, they are the party of slavery, the party of KKK, the party of Jim Crow, and the party of systemic racism. So when I see a lot of these people out here talking about, I want freedom, you're a racist, this a racist, and that's a racist. Why won't they just dismantle the racist party, which is the Democrat Party, instead of removing all of these doggone statues? And one more thing, what are you going to do when they come for the Martin Luther King statues and monuments?
Or the Obama statue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's interesting because I've talked about this approach of Black Lives Matter versus, which I think in some respects what I've heard from a lot of Black conservatives is the Black Lives Matter approach is more of the Malcolm X approach. And the
wait. Don't even put that on Malcolm X.
Yeah.
No?
What you're
All right.
saying here, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, this propaganda organization, these people are trained Marxists.
Yeah.
Okay? They
Yeah.
want to bring in communism, which is
Right.
another form of slavery.
Yeah.
They've been already bought out.
That's right.
And this foundation taking in hundreds of millions of dollars, where's that money going to? And how is that really helping Black lives?
It's not going to Black
That's
lives.
right.
It's
You have
going to white lives.
That's right. You have corporations
That's right.
pumping money into that, acting like they're doing good for Black people, and they're not.
That's
it's
right.
time for Black people, all people, to wake up, or we're not gonna have a country. And I don't
Yeah.
care what color your skin is.
What's actually happening is Black people are being used as pawns for a white liberal agenda.
That's right.
It's being used and disguised as Black Lives Matter. So people thinking they're giving it to Black lives and I feel so sorry for Black people. I'm going to donate my money. No, it's just like a shell. It's like money laundering, I would say, allegedly. It's basically what's going on. You thinking you're giving your money to one cause, it's actually for something else.
That's right.
That's what's happening.
So in terms of how people, your average person, let's say your average suburban mom in Kansas City, she wants to help, she's white, and she sees something on the TV and says, I want to make a difference, I'm going to write a check to Black Lives Matter Foundation. What would you say instead she should do as a white person? Because there's so many of these protesters who are Black who are saying, white people, you can't even be part of our protests. You can't even help us because you're white. You're inherently, because you're white, just sit down and be quiet. What would you say to her and in terms of what she can do to help the Black community?
To help the Black community, make sure you are fair, and make sure you are fair and square. Fair, square, and balanced is what you need to do.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not asking for any white people to give me a handout.
Mm-mm.
I'm asking you to make the system where it's fair and equal across the board for everybody,
Right.
where everybody have an opportunity. I'm not asking white people to bow down to me, because I will never bow down to a white person. The only person I will bow down to is God, and that's it.
That's it.
So that's what I'm asking for. This sinister stuff that you see out in the streets, white people feel like they got to do this. Listen, first of all, when I go to the grocery store and shop, I shop with white people, Black people, all people.
That's right.
We ain't bickering back and forth.
That's right.
We ain't in no race war.
And I'm not looking for a white person to pay for my grocery bill.
That's right. I can do that myself.
That's right.
I want the system. Look, we wouldn't have never had to have civil rights had everybody had equal rights. What we want is equal rights across the board.
That's right.
When we look at some of these police policies, yes, some things do need to be changed.
Mhm.
Nobody has their right to put their knee in somebody's neck and then they die. That does not need to happen. How do we change those policies? But we still need our police. We don't want the police department defunded. We need those police because we need someone to protect and serve. If we got a good credit score like a white person and we want a home, we want to be able to go and purchase a home too. We shouldn't be ostracized, criticized, and vilified for wanting better things, because the system, which was designed by white liberals, have it that way.
Right. So it's not the white person that you're describing
Right.
that wants to cut the check. It's the white liberal system.
The system that
Okay?
has
It's
it
the
all set
system
up
that
like
has
this.
it set up like
And
this.
that's
Right.
what needs to change.
Right.
And shame on people for blaming people that's white, that was born white,
Right.
for all of the stuff that's happening in our country
Or happened in the past.
where they were dealt dealt the same hand we were dealt when we all got here.
That's right.
So what we need to do as a country is come together. Hold up. Why is this being put in front of our eyes now? Because this is all political.
Right.
And why is this the smoke screen? What else is hiding up underneath?
That's
because
right.
I guarantee you there's some nasty, sick, sinister stuff happening right up under our noses, and we don't even realize
That's
it.
right.
So I want to ask you a historical question as far as this question of white liberals creating the system, because when you look at LBJ, I think that there's a book by Amity Sherlis, the historian, and you talk to a lot of conservative historians or just historians who are trying to be really objective and fair. When you look at the statistics of the black family, for example, before LBJ and the Great Society welfare program started in the 60s, the black family had 75% married couples having children. And now that ratio post-welfare has reversed, where it's only about 25% black babies born to a two-parent home. If we were talking about investment in the black community and the Great Society was meant to help with that, you pumped trillions of dollars into helping the inner cities, through welfare programs, and yet now we have this outcome of the black family being destroyed. So I guess my question to you is, if I was trying to destroy the black family and I was a white supremacist, wouldn't I actually be happy about what's happened with all the welfare, which has destroyed the black family?
You will be, yes, you will be happy about that.
Yep.
You will be happy that Planned Parenthood is on every corner in the black neighborhoods.
Yep.
You will be happy about the liquor stores being on every corner. Everything is designed to destroy the black man in some kind of way. Even out there pumping your fists in the streets, acting crazy, all of that is designed in the plan to literally destroy the black man in their existence, and they don't even realize it.
Even down to the birth control and Planned Parenthood and
right.
Margaret Sanger, all of that it was put in place to depopulate the black community.
And they got everybody. I'm looking at Biden, but Biden is the one that stood on the Senate floor.
That's right.
Called black men predators. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Push for the crime bill to decimate the black families.
That's right.
Took black fathers out of the home. Look at what they push in Hollywood. They would prefer for our black men to be women instead of standing up and being men. So let's look at everything. It all has a component to it, all designed to destroy the black man. And then they take and they depict us on television as savages, thugs, criminals. And then when white America look at that, they are afraid of black people because they feel like that's how we act, and that's not how we act. We don't go out stealing and doing stuff like that. We were raised in a two-parent home.
That's right.
Certain things we couldn't get away with doing. My parents would not have allowed it.
That's
So
right.
am I hearing you right? You're upset that white liberal Hollywood executives are making money off of stereotyping black people as criminals.
White liberal Hollywood. And let me tell you something, not only white liberal Hollywood liberals, it's also black ones.
Liberals.
They do the same thing too.
That's right.
They joined the bandwagon because they taught you all how to treat your own.
That's right.
See, the black Hollywood, the white Hollywood taught you black ones how to treat your own. Depict them as this.
They're used as a puppet.
Depict them as this.
That's right.
We're not that, but they
right.
have us depicted a certain way. And then with somebody like a Diamond and Silk who have conservative values that's going to tell you, listen, pull your pants up. You don't need to be drinking all of that liquor. You don't need to be aborting your babies. Then they try to demonize us and vilify us in the media
and shut
us up to make it look like don't listen to them too, because they don't know what they're talking about.
And because we dare to speak against the status quo. And one more thing, if I can also interject, remember that the Republican Party was
started
created
and
founded by black people.
That's right.
A lot of people don't even know that.
That's right.
The Republican Party was started and founded by black people.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So people need to go back and you need to read history.
Yeah.
Don't erase it. Don't tear down the statues.
Right.
Never let the Democrat Party whitewash and erase their history.
Their history.
Yes. And if you want to get rid of that type of history, you need to get rid of the Democrat Party.
That's right.
They are the party that brought in the KKK.
Yep.
Because those black Republicans chose to be Republicans and they wasn't Democrats.
Yeah.
They brought in the KKK to intimidate, manipulate in order to dominate. And look at what's happening today. They're
Well,
trying to intimidate, manipulate in order to dominate.
That's
Yes.
really interesting. I did not know that it was founded. I knew it was founded to be a abolition party, but I didn't know specifically that it was founded by Black Americans.
Right
We'll
there in
have
Texas.
to do a separate segment on this in another show. But one other piece I want to get your thoughts about is specifically the drug war, because the Predator Bill, so-called, was created in response to a lot of the crime that was coming as a result of the drug war, and a lot of the violence, the addiction that was coming in Black communities through the drug war. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it not white liberals who normalized drug culture in America through white liberal hippies, through the flower children, flower power, go to Woodstock and have all these fun drugs because you're a rich white suburban teenager, and normalize drug culture, and then that drug culture goes into these Black areas where it's much more vulnerable? Correct me if I'm wrong in terms of the history of how the drug wars and the drug culture, because the drug culture was not permeating the Black community before the 60s. Unless I'm wrong, ladies, please tell me.
Well, I wasn't born in the 60s, so I don't know. But the only thing I know is that who put the drugs in the community?
Into the Black community. That's right.
See, Black people can't get their hands on certain things.
Yeah.
It's just like when these buildings was being burnt down, they were professionally being burnt down. Black people didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So who put those drugs in the community for them to gravitate to that, to sell them to their own, to take that stuff for them to be out of their mind?
That's right.
If Black people only knew who was against you. You got the media that want everyone to be against the president. President Trump is not the enemy. It's these white liberals who's the enemy, and these Black liberals are following along with it.
That's right.
They are trying to take down our country and fundamentally change it for the worse, not for the better.
That's right.
President Trump is the only one standing in the way, and that's why everybody needs to make sure they go vote for President Trump in 2020.
So make sure you vote red.
RED, remove every Democrat.
Ladies, you both mentioned Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood recently put a tweet out talking about owning your racist history and saying that the American culture needs to own its racist history. And Live Action, the pro-life group, pointed out from their perspective the irony. They said, this is really ironic that Planned Parenthood is calling for America to own its racist history when clearly Planned Parenthood has a founder, Margaret Sanger, who has some very big questions about her racial past. Can you talk a bit about that irony, or what you know about Margaret Sanger?
Well, the only thing I know is what I read about her, and I know that she wanted to exterminate Black people, and she called them the other word. Well, it's two words that they used to call them back in the day, but I'm not even going to use that. She wanted to exterminate Black people, and that was the way to do it. Not only that, but I am hearing, and I've read some information, don't know, I can allege that Bill Gates' father also sat on that board with Margaret Sanger. So it is the irony of Planned Parenthood saying own your racist history. Look at Planned Parenthood racist past.
That's
Why
right.
is it that you want funding to exterminate Black babies?
That's right.
Why is it your goal is to kill up Black children or coerce? I thought Planned Parenthood, when you listen to the name, you see how they make it sound like it's good. It sounds like it's planning for you to be a parent, when in all actuality, they planning on you not to be a parent because they want you to kill your baby. And the crazy thing is you have these white liberals that introduce this stuff to Black people, making you think that it's okay to commit murder, because that's really, quote unquote, what it is. And Black people go along with it until they finally wake up. Wait a minute, this is all wrong. If we could end slavery, we can end this type of mass genocide happening to Black people on a high level.
And look at it. Black people is what, 13 or 14% of the population.
That's right.
That's because Black people, your offsprings are being killed. You're killing your offspring.
And if Black people are so concerned about not being the majority, then why the majority? Then why do you keep killing off your offspring? Because that's what they want you to do. They don't want you to be a part of the majority, because they want you to continue to kill yourself, kill off your offspring, get in the streets and act crazy so we can put it on TV and depict you a certain way. If you only knew that a lot of these people that you think that have your back, they are against you. And the sad thing is what they do is they pay these entertainers who happen to be black to push the white liberal agenda.
They are called the gatekeepers.
That's right. And that's sad.
That's right.
But it's up to black people.
Yeah.
You have your own mind. We told you back in 2015, you can think for yourself. It's time for you to start thinking for yourself.
So now for 2020, you ladies were at the Trump rally in Tulsa that just happened. What are you planning for the campaign? Are you going to be helping along the trail? Are you going to be helping going into some of these urban communities to try to reach new voters? What's your strategy? Are you surrogates officially with the campaign? Walk us through your plans the next 4 months.
Well, first of all, I don't kiss and tell. I don't spill the beans until the beans are cooked.
Right.
And when you moan, the devil don't know what you're talking about.
That's right.
And right now, it seems like to me we are in a spiritual warfare.
That's right.
So I'm not going to put all of my eggs in one basket, and I'm not going to spill all of the tea. But what I can tell you is Diamond and Silk, we're still using our voices to wake up the masses. And I don't care whether you black, white, pinstripe, polka dot, or plaid.
That's right.
I need for you to wake up. Look at what's going on. Does this seem normal? Because it's not normal. A lot of the stuff is political, and what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to vote right, or this time you're going to get left, and when you get left, they're going to turn us all into slaves.
And another thing that we are doing is we're making sure that we have a platform, Diamond and Silk platform, where people can stay in contact with us at chattit.com. That's ChatDit.com. Chattit.com to stay in contact with Diamond and Silk.
All right, well, ladies, I'm going to leave it right there. Appreciate your time. And when your book comes out, when does your book come out? What's the date?
August of 2020.
August 18th.
Uprising, who in the hell said you can't ditch and switch? The Awakening of Diamond and Silk.
DiamondandSilkBook.com.
We'd love to have you back to come and talk about that then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.